right. Hello, everyone. Naureen here. Today I'm with Mona. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Naureen, for hosting me.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so to start with, I'm Mona AlHebsi. I'm based in Dubai in the UAE. I am a hotelier by profession, a coach, and an author. Obviously, my story is a little bit would be like strange. Like comparing to my peers because here in the UAE, having women working in the hospitality, especially being an Emirati national, is something which is not very common. So it's basically my fascination with the way the world of hospitality works because it all goes down tracks back to when I was a college student and I had an opportunity to do my internship. So there was a new hotel that opened close to my home. And by the way, I live in a mountain area, like it's one of the very traditional areas in the UAE. And when I told my family that okay, I would like to do my training in the hotel, it's like my parents started looking at me like, what? So the interesting story that I always tell people is like the first day, I mean, I managed to have our discussion. I managed to convince them that, okay, I need to do this. I want to explore this. And I remember the very first day in my internship that my father actually drove me and he went inside and we together went to the HR to basically finish the formality of internship. And then he actually went with me to the housekeeping department, to the laundry, and he saw everything. And it was my first time as well there. And then we actually sat there and saw while they were actually cleaning the linens and the stuff. So it was like, wow, what an experience. So when he felt that everything is okay, she's in safe hands, he just went back and I continued my day. And this is how my 2 months of training just went by, and I didn't really. I mean, the rest is history because I went over the different departments in hotels. I saw the housekeeping, the pastry, the front office, the reservation, the accounting, and you name it. So I got a holistic approach about okay, this is hospitality because the general feeling or hospitality. I mean, for people who don't know it, it's okay. The other thing of reception, front office, or F&B outlet, but
Hmm.
not more, not less. But then no, that was really an eye opening, and I said, "Khalas, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to build my career." And then from there, when I've done with this, I've started with Burj Al Arab. My first role was as a training administrator, and I'm glad that I worked with Caroline. Actually, she was heading the HR and board at that point. So
Nice.
it was amazing. Like she was an amazing leader, and I've actually thought, oh my God, like can I be like her one day? So it all goes back to that when I saw how she is like a very powerful leader. She's heading a department which takes care of all the employees, and I'm kind of very much into that. Like I like taking care of people, but I also like to be like okay, taking care and in a place where I can create the maximum impact. So that's where I looked, and my career in hospitality then actually it was all over like okay, growing, learning, developing, moving from one hotel to another. I worked also with Hyatt as well, Hyatt hotels. I went back to Jumeirah in the capacity of director of HR eventually, like in 2014. So then I worked my way from that place to another. Heading actually HR also in a bigger resort like Jumeirah Zabil Sarai as well. So it was amazing journey for me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I connect with you about, when I first told my family I was going to go into hospitality as well, they were like, hospitals? That was the first thing that I got. I'm like, no, 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 hotels.
Hotels, yes.
But yeah, you're right. It is rare for an Emirati national to be working in hospitality. I did my internship actually in Dubai in
Mm,
2005 at the Emirates Tower.
okay.
So a long time ago. But yeah, it was very, very interesting to see how that city functions and to be able to get an understanding of how hospitality has such an impact on the city. And it's so nice that you knew Caroline and worked together with her
Mm,
at the board. It's so fantastic when you have role models like her to
yeah,
show an
true,
example.
true.
I didn't have that
Mm,
many. female leaders that I could aspire to sort of when I came into the industry as well.
Yeah.
So speaking of role models, who or what kind of support did you have to grow and develop your career?
So honestly, like being like one of the very few Emirati ladies in the hospitality industry, I mean, of course, like I've been working in my country all these years, but when I go to a sector like hospitality, which is mostly predominant by non Emiratis, it's first of all, I mean, the positive aspect, it's a great learning opportunity, a great way to interact with other people from other cultures, from other backgrounds, also to actually learn new insights, see how experienced they are, and actually beside all that, they all come from different hotel chains, different they've gone through different processes, different ways of working, knowing different things. So that's really an amazing learning experience for me, working with such people. But then in terms of support, like okay, I cannot say like I didn't get support. I got support, but as you know, as Noreen being first of all a woman and hospitality, being an Emirati woman in hospitality, that had its own unique kind of challenges that made me actually a little bit feel okay. At occasions in my career, I question the decision, or question okay whether I was in the right place, or whether it's gonna I can even move forward, because you know all those kind of stereotypes and perceptions that people have about people from different nationalities, from especially as like women, and aiming. I told you I was aiming to get into a leadership role and inspire people, all that. But then I had to do a lot of work on myself to create that kind of situation or scenario. Of course, I cannot forget my very first manager, who really kind of got me in the industry. She was my training manager. I still remember her and a lot of time, because she, you know how she selected me. She selected me. I was a fresh graduate. I attended the interview, and she interviewed seven other people beside me on that day. But then she called me and told me, like, Mona, I selected you because you told me you really need this job. And actually, that was very, and I told her, I will not let you down. In the interview, I told her, if you take me, I will not let you down, and you'll be proud of your decision. So it was amazing that she gave me the opportunity. Along the way, I found those kind of people who are supportive. But honestly, being a woman, I think you can relate also to the fact that, okay, as long as you are working within a certain sphere, then you can expect some sort of support, but not when you are aiming to really, you are someone like, for me, I'm a very ambitious woman. I want always the best. I want more. I want to learn more. I want to get better. For in this kind of an environment, which is really competitive and which has people from different nationalities, it's you need to really dig, or make your make your own path, or do whatever it takes to get there. So for me, my tools or my resources were all around revolved around self-development, lifelong learning, becoming the best, just what, like I always say, beating the odds.
I like that, beating the odds. And yeah, no, absolutely. I think in any scenario, wherever we go, we definitely have our challenges. And knowing yourself, like you're saying, that self development is so important in making sure that you know what your strengths are, what you bring to the table, and that you really take ownership of it.
Sure.
And you said you were very ambitious. You were striving for leadership roles. You know, obviously, clearly, you did that. What were, tell us a little bit about that journey, like going from one hotel to another, moving from role to role. You know, oftentimes I get questions is like, how do I, how do I progress my career? You know, what are some of the things that I need to do?
Okay, great. Actually, so just going back to the time when I was in my first job in Burj Al Arab. So I've worked there for like around 3 years. I got one promotion in between where I started actually, and again, credit goes to my first manager because she saw the potential in me and she told me, Mona, you can do it. You can stand and train the employees. So she gave me that opportunity. I started training my colleagues on the seven-star service in Burj Al Arab. And when actually I started delivering those trainings, something amazing happened inside me. So people started coming and asking me for a lot of questions, taking my advice, being a trainer, obviously. And then I felt like, oh my god, like people really look up to me, and I need actually to be better. Like I better be better, I cannot just maintain, because at that point in my career no one guided me, no one told me that, okay, professional life is all about, working. Even though, imagine, like I was working in L&D, I was attending training courses while delivering it, but not in the kind of the way I personally wanted my professional life to go. So then I kind of made a decision. I said, okay, let me pause here, because it seems that the responsibility is very big and I want to be doing it in the best capacity. So what I did, I've taken a break from hospitality for a few years in order to complete my postgraduate. So I've earned my dual MBA and human resources during that time. It was between 2008 and 2012. So I've invested all those 4 years in just continuous learning, developing, while I was working somewhere else in another industry, not hospitality, because I wanted the time. I mean, the long hours in hospitality wouldn't allow for such intense, development and studies and all that. So I've earned my postgraduate. I've done a lot of certification into training to be a credentialed trainer. I've done a lot of things in terms of business and quality and project management. So I've acquired a lot of things, and then I think they all say when the opportunity comes when you are ready. So around the beginning of 2012, I was approached by Grand Hyatt Dubai, because they were looking for an HR manager. And for me, it was like, wow, like, okay. So I've gone through the interviews, everything, and they were so impressed. And I've just got the job there. And it was my very first managerial role in hospitality. And it was actually, I was really, it was great that I got this opportunity, because I've got to understand Hyatt as a global or international hotel chain, how they operate, because now I have something to compare, or a point of reference with Jumeirah, because I worked with Burj. So it's like, I mean, there are two different kind of hotels, but they serve different kind of markets, but it allows you to learn a lot of things about, the people, the mentalities, the processes, the systems. That was amazing. And then after that, also I've progressed kind of. I focused. I mean, like just from that point, I've never stopped learning. So I've kept on acquiring international certifications in HR, and I've became a certified coach, credentialed coach by ICF, and I'm proud to say that at this moment, as we speak, I'm actually an FCIPD, which is the highest level, the fellow CIPD, in HR, and I don't know a lot of hoteliers who have this. I could maybe count in my country at least. I don't know. So I really wanted to become the best, and this is when I tell you I wanted to become the best. So I think for people who always say, okay, especially women, especially people who come from minority groups, who want to really progress in their career, I would say just don't focus on the external factors. I mean, they are important to be aware of them, but don't let them put you down. Put all your energy on your self development and becoming better, because no matter how long that would take, and the time when you polish yourself, when you try to become your best version, with time people will actually pay attention that, okay, the person, like this person. But it might take some time, and you don't want, like, we shouldn't expect actually things to work overnight. A lot of time things take time. Great things take time.
Agreed. With everything, it takes time. I was
Yeah.
actually preparing another podcast episode earlier in the week, and she was talking about how she sort of learned to speak up, having the courage to speak up. When she was younger, in her 20s, she wouldn't have had that courage to do it. But with maturity and with time, you
Yeah,
find that courage to speak up and speak up for the things that are important. Or if you see something that's not right,
sure.
then you share it. And yeah, it does. In some cases, it does take time. There
Of
isn't
course.
always a manual or a book that you
Of
can read.
course. Yeah, of course. Of course.
And so, you were saying that, you became a manager for the first time. I remember when I became a manager for the first time, I was very like nervous. I wasn't sure. And as I was saying,
Mm,
they don't give you a book to say, okay, this is how you be a good manager. I eventually did have some help along the way. And, I also worked with a coach at one point.
mm.
So what was it like for you being a manager for the first time? Um, Perhaps managing a team also.
Of course, it was obviously, as you said, it was very kind of. I was overwhelmed. I wanted to, like a lot of time. What our jobs has a lot to do with our self identity and how we want to be seen or to be known. So it's like you want to show as a first manager, you want to start. You think generally that I want to show result. I want to become best at what I do. I want to be good to people and all that, but you don't have all the skills. Like a lot of people think that okay, when you come ready you get the job. That's true and partially, but then a lot of time in reality actually you get into the job and then you learn it, so that's what happens I think with majority of people, because a lot of people when they come up to me and tell me, oh okay, see, they didn't train me on this job. I got into the job but no one's trained. I said, you train yourself, you learn the job. You are on the job. Learn what it takes to become competent in the job, to become the best in this job. And this is what it works, because for example for me when I was in Hyatt and got my first managerial role, I kind of as I said, overwhelmed. But then I had a lot of people around me, and I was started observing what other managers do, what kind of feedback line colleagues or like the employees are saying about their managers, what they appreciate in their manager, what they don't appreciate in their managers. And as I told you, like I continued my own learning. So I was reading books, I was listening to audiobooks on the topic. So for me, it was still not easy, but I think most of what I learned by experience, by being on the job. And I'm actually proud to say that one of the things that I learned along my career, along my professional life, along the way, was if you really want to create an impact, you need to do things out of the normal. So you shouldn't expect to follow or do what other people do and then shine. That's not work. Even though that when you decide actually to do something different or maybe speak up, especially being a woman, speak up in situations where things are not right, then you are going to get like people who don't like this, you will not be appreciated for your efforts. But I think the compass for you need to be that I'm glad I did this, regardless of what other people think about it. If your internal compass tells you that you did the right thing in the situation, then just let the other things be on the side, whatever others say about you. So I would say, like a lot of time, you would need to do your own, create your own path. Uh, to basically be exceptional, to create a way for other people, especially if you belong to a minority group, that becomes even more important to do these kind of stuff. And I have a book actually that's called Beat the Odds. I'm not sure if you can saw it or not, but it actually summarized my journey, my career journey in hospitality, and how I've went beating the odds along the way of my journey until I became what I'm glad I'm today. So that kind of inspiration for the younger generations, especially hoteliers and the women who want to get into the industry.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just about to ask you about your book. You said you're an author, and I love that, Beat the Odds. And it really seems to be a theme from our conversation today as well. Like
Yeah,
doing the things that is outside the normal or the norm. I love that. And you're absolutely right. To create or make an impact, you have to. You cannot just follow, what's the term? Follow the herd or
The
follow the sheep,
mainstream. Yeah, the mainstream. You cannot just.
you have to,
Mm,
to be able to stand out. And I think each one of us has the capacity to stand out for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to write your book?
Well, I think yeah, I've loved writing from so many years from my young age, and I was the favorite student for my Arabic teacher and for my English teacher, because when it comes to literature or writing, both of them were is always to like me because of my writing pieces. So basically, I was actually contributing on smaller scales in the beginning of my career journey, but writing posts on LinkedIn or writing small things. But then this idea kept on coming to my mind for years, actually, to write a book, because I love writing. But then what happened, and like around 2017, it's kind of I was towards the peak of my career at that point, and I've met. I mean, there was an event that a publisher came from Australia to do in Dubai for the very first time. Imagine, and there were people who she was writing, talking to them about a book and all that, and she sold me the idea. Like, I mean, there were a lot of people, but for me, like, I've seen Mona, خلاص, this is the time. You have been thinking about it forever. Just make it happen, you know. So it was just the right time, and it took me around like almost a year, like a few months to a year, to go through the entire process of writing the book, reviewing it and working with publishers and everything, and getting it out exactly after a year. So it was out in August 2018. Uh, yeah, so it was kind of amazing, and I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to because I felt I have a story to tell, and mostly authors, like, I mean, each one of us or anyone who write any written piece, we want to share experiences, we want to tell stories, we want to because see, we know that along the way, somewhere in the world, there is someone who might need this written piece to be guided by, to be inspired by, maybe to have the courage to take the next step that they have been thinking about taking. So that book, I felt should be like really there, because I wanted to leave something behind me, like because currently, like, I know I'm not in the industry, but my story, I think it's worth telling, and people need to know, especially the younger generations and the women who want to get into the industry and grow in the industry.
Absolutely. And I think in that we're definitely aligned and, sharing our stories. This is part of the reason why I'm doing the podcast, is because I
Yeah,
want to share the stories of so many women in our industry. Each one of us has the capacity to be inspirational, and we can be role models because there's someone out there who needs to hear it and who needs to
sure.
connect with the stories. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
So basically, I launched my book, as I told you, like August 2018. And then in a year of that, I had my first child. So I got married towards end of 2018, and then I got my first child towards end of 2019. And that was like really a moment of truth, where I after working for 15 years over and like in my professional life, I thought, okay, well, and he was kind of like my child born like unhealthy a bit, so I felt like, no, like I really need to make a decision here, and I kind of leave my career in order to take care of my child. So I've done that. I've taken this decision. I've stayed with him. He's mashallah healthy now. He just turned actually 4 years last Saturday.
Oh,
But what happened actually during these 4 years were amazing, and this is what I think will even uh, maybe get some people to think about the way they look at their careers, because a lot of people don't get to distinguish between a job and a career, and
mm,
and 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 there's a huge difference, because a job can be one aspect of your entire career. um, the career can be a different set of so many activities that you do, or endeavors, or projects, or even you can work for your own self. um, and this is exactly what we are seeing the new world of work turning into, because you would not you will rarely find people who do one job and that's it. The kind of new world we are living it doesn't even support that kind of scenario, because as people we have so many other things in our life, like the latest break of the COVID taught all of us a lot of valuable lessons, and it was actually around that time when I decided to just step out. So so I've used that time actually to do a lot of reflection, a lot of self just sitting, mirroring, self reflection, internal work, while being a mother also is a great thing, and it's a new experience. So that also got me more into this, because I wanted to kind of realign and redirect my efforts towards the way I want to be in my life. So I've actually started a YouTube channel at that point, and started talking about career tips, about especially both in Arabic and English, and then I've started doing also a lot of involvement in LinkedIn. I've started writing for different magazines on issues to do with human resources, with coaching, with my areas of expertise, hospitality, even motherhood. So I've done a lot of stuff while I was raising my child, and I was doing part-time coaching as well, because I'm a certified coach. So I didn't want to lose my skills. I wanted to keep practicing while I'm at home. So those kind of scenarios I've continued doing for some time, and just early this year, I've also launched my own training courses on different topics, including HR, including branding, thought leadership, so many things that I thought people can benefit from and can know that, okay, because life happens in between, but you shouldn't at any point think, oh, if I'm not in a permanent job, then I'm gone, or my life is done. So it's because honestly, I once I left my job, because it was a big change for me, I started having this kind of thoughts, and it was very kind of my own saboteurs kept on draining me down. But like I felt, no, I will not submit to this. I need to just step up and see what other things I can do. How can I make use of my skills while I'm at home? Because it's not you don't have to move mountains, yani, to make a change. You can just write an article, or make a video, or just coach someone, or just talk to someone. So at the end of the day, what are you aiming at? Are you aiming at just a job? And that's fine. It's not. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying if you want to do it, do it. But there are so many other ways to make an impact in this world. You don't have to have a job.
Agreed. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing, how you spent that time. And it feels like the theme of this conversation is that lifelong learning, right? The education. And you're really trying to give back now with what you're
Yeah,
doing
that's
in
true.
terms of your channels and your training courses. And, you're absolutely right. We have so much knowledge, we have so much experiences, and the best thing that we can do is share that. But oftentimes I find, as women especially, we don't even believe in that in
Yeah,
ourselves. And
yeah,
sometimes we need that reminder to, yeah, to get us to help us believe that in ourselves again.
that's true.
And look, I would love to keep talking to you, but I'm going to move on to my final question and ask you, who inspires you?
Um, I think there's no one person who inspires me. I think uh, there's so many people who I can learn something from. But I would say the most person who inspires me is any woman who believe in herself and go try to uh, beat the odds, or do what will make her happy. It's not just beating the odds for the sake of it, but it's about just owning her life, and don't feel not feeling guilty that, okay, she's going to go the path that her heart wish her to go. So those kind of women, I really salute, and um, I'm trying my efforts to be one of them, actually. So this is why I do what I'm doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure, a lot of people, myself included, will be inspired by your story. And thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you, Noreen, for hosting me.